And now we move to the Arabian Peninsula. And there to the relationship that developed between the Saudis and the Hashemites, leading eventually to the creation of the independent kingdom of Saudi Arabia as we know it today. In Arabia, there was for centuries a very powerful alliance between a radical school of Islamic puritanical fundamentalism called the Wahhabis, in a political alliance with the Saudi family. And it is this Saudi-Wahhabi alliance which eventually produced the Saudi Arabian kingdom. So who were these Wahhabis? They were a movement that appeared in the 18th century, radical, puritanic, against any form of modernization and change in Islam. And they, together with the family of Saud, controlled much of the Arabian Peninsula. The Ottomans, as we have already seen, used Muhammad Ali from Egypt every now and then to try and put them down, but with no lasting success. And it was they, the Wahhabis in their alliance with the Saudis, who were the masters of most of Arabia in the early 20th century. The Hashemites controlled the Hejaz, that is, that coastal area of Western Arabia, which included the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. As of the beginning of the 20th century, there is little we know about the Arabian Peninsula. The population was perhaps somewhere around 7 million, maybe even a lot less than that. There is no knowing what the largest city of the region was, whether it was Mecca, Jeddah, Aden, or Sana'a. None had a population of more than 100,000 inhabitants, and this was an area that was hardly affected by the reforms of the 19th century that had such a far-reaching effect in other parts of the region. Though the Ottomans, towards the very end of their rule, did manage to extend a more effective presence, at least to the Hejaz, thanks to the building of the railway that reached as far south as Medina by 1908. Following the Ottoman collapse in the First World War, Britain had the upper hand in the region. Britain had already formed alliances with local tribal centres of power long before. One of these was the House of Saud, which was the strongest in the Arabian Peninsula in the aftermath of the war. And it was in the rivalry with Britain's other tribal allies, the Hashemites, who, as we have seen, cooperated with the British in the Arab revolt against the Ottomans during the war. The Hashemites under Hussein ibn Ali had great ambitions, more than their real power could sustain, and it is these great ambitions that brought them into a huge collision with the Saudi family that proved to be a lot stronger than they. In 1917, Hussein ibn Ali, the leader of the Hashemite family, declared himself as the king of the Arabs, but he was recognized as such by no one, including the British, who would only accept him as the king of the Hejaz. With its Wahhabi forces, the Saudis defeated the Hashemites in a number of battles in the years after the war. And in the meantime, Hussein did not accept Britain's precondition for cooperation, that is, accepting the terms of the Mandate Order, especially in Palestine. And as a result of his unwillingness to cooperate with the British eventually lost their patience with Hussein, abandoned him to his fate, and left him to be defeated by the Saudis without much difficulty. Hussein made the ultimate provocation by declaring himself caliph in 1924, immediately after the Turks had abolished the caliphate. The Saudis made their final offensive, defeated the Hashemites, and the Saudis annexed the Hejaz in 1925, sending the Hashemites into exile. A few years later, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in its present borders was established under the leadership of Abdulaziz ibn Saud and became a state independent in 1932. As for the Persian Gulf principalities, they were under British influence through long-standing alliances with local sheikhs that had begun in the late 19th century in places like Kuwait, Qatar, Trucial Oman, which is now the United Arab Emirates, and the island of Bahrain.